Hey, today I want to share a lot of the barriers that I've faced on my OMAD journey, and a lot of people that I talk to share the same thing. So I made a list, and there's some fascinating ones that I want to share with you, because I think knowing this beforehand and being aware of this can make the journey so much easier. Because let's face it, sometimes it's not easy to do this when you're starting out. So the first one that I'm going to share with you is OPO, O-P-O, other people's opinions. And that's huge, believe me. You're going to hear doctors and health practitioners and personal trainers and dietitians and a lot of people saying that this is a bad idea. And then when you tell your friends and your family and co-workers, 99% of them might tell you that you're crazy, because to them it's such a scary, far out there idea that of course it's scary. We've been conditioned that we need to eat all the time, and I get it. I mean, I grew up with that idea, and my whole life I've eaten all the time, and when I got trained to be a dietitian, that's what we learned, and even as a holistic health coach, that's what I learned. But the more that I play with fasting, the more that I experience it, and the more that I enjoy the benefits, I don't care what people tell me. I feel great. It does work for me and for so many people. So, and I'm not saying that OMAD is for everyone. I just want to make that clear. It's not for everyone, but if it's working for you, then just be aware that other people's opinions are can be a huge barrier, but it can be a good test. I've noticed that it can be a good test. Like, I noticed in the past that I used to let everyone's opinions dictate what I was doing. As soon as some people were like against my ideas, and I'm talking about many things, like even like career and stuff like that. But as soon as I heard other people's opinions that didn't agree with how I was thinking at the time, then I got discouraged. And so it's a good test, but just be aware that maybe you don't want to share with everyone what you're doing. Maybe wait until you get results. Maybe wait until you're sure that this is what you want to do before you start sharing with everyone, because people are not everyone's gonna be supportive. Unfortunately, not everyone's gonna be supportive. So number 2 is your mind. Actually, your mind will be a huge barrier, because we tend to think that we should eat, right? I think I should eat. I think I'm hungry. I think I need food, because we're being conditioned to that. So just be aware that your mind might be a huge barrier, might be, yeah, you just need to kind of like become good friends with that, and just realize that of course you've been conditioned to think the opposite way. So it might be a little bit of a dance, right? To try to, I don't want to say a battle with your mind, because that has more of a negative connotation. But you're just gonna have to be aware of that and realize that that's just your mind, because you've been conditioned that way. And you can be loving to that idea and to that perspective that you have, and realize that you want to try this, that you want to see how this affects your body and how this benefits you. So just be aware of that. Number 3 is your emotions. Realize that hunger many times is emotional. I love some of the ideas in the book. I think it was called Cravings by Doreen Virtue, that talks about how many things we feel in our belly. Right? I think I wrote a few examples. Yeah, like butterflies in my stomach when people say that, right? And not in my belly. And when you lose appetite when something happens, like this area and appetite is such an emotional thing. It's so affected by emotions, that realize that your emotions are going to have an effect on your hunger and your cravings and all that stuff, right? I wrote that anxiety can lead to overeating. A heartbreak can lead to overeating, right? Even mild depression or a serious level of depression, we know that leads to overeating, right? If you're anxious, you're always thinking about the future. You try to use food to either distract yourself or so many things, right? Heartbreak, think of how many of us, like, we break up in a relationship, all we want to do is eat ice cream and just eat, and right? So there's such an emotional connection to our appetite and our hunger and our cravings, that it's something to be aware of. So that can be a huge barrier. So find ways, and maybe I'll make more videos, but find ways to deal, and I'm not saying deal in a negative way, but to deal with your emotions, so that you don't have to use food like I do and I've done my whole life to bury those down and avoid looking at those. I'll make more videos about that because it's been a struggle for most of my life. Definitely doing better, but sometimes it's still challenging. So just realize that hunger is related to so many emotions and how that changes throughout the day, the week, the month, everything. Number 4 is expectations. A lot of people think I should have lost more weight by now, and then you'll get discouraged. And I feel like expectations is a tough one. Like, people just tell you, have no expectations, right? Like, if it was that easy, we wouldn't struggle with it. Everyone's like, oh, just have no expectations, right? Just go into a relationship with no expectations, or just start this journey of OMAD with no expectations, and just go to the gym with I love when people say that, like, if it was that easy to have no expectations, right? But just to be aware that your expectations can mess you up on this journey and many, many journeys. I'll make more videos on that too, because I feel like it's a fascinating idea and concept, and I feel like a lot of people give us ideas that end up making you feel worse about yourself, because we're human beings, we're gonna have expectations. So I'm gonna make more videos about dealing with that. Number 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your previous state of health and previous lifestyle. This one is huge because you might need more time to adapt to the new changes, right? For example, I wrote, you might be detoxing quicker than what your body can handle. So your body's getting used to the changes. Your metabolism's changing. A lot of things are changing. So, and I'm not judging, please, like, I'm not judging. Don't think that I'm judging when I say this. But if your lifestyle used to be very unhealthy, if the foods that you ate were very unhealthy, it might be tougher to jump to OMAD. So start with intermittent fasting, 16-8, and start increasing the window of fasting so your body can get used to it. Don't jump right into OMAD if you had a lifestyle that you know, just being honest with yourself, not judging or criticizing, but just being honest with yourself. If you had a lifestyle that wasn't very healthy, that might make it really tough. And then number 6, the last one, is too many carbs the night before. I had to find this out the hard way. I had crazy hunger the next day. Crazy hunger the next day when I had too many carbs the night before. In my experience, I'm not gonna give you 25 scientific studies on this one. In my experience, it made it really tough to get to the 23-hour fasting for the next day to make it to mealtime. It drove me crazy, the hunger that I had. I talked to other people, they feel the same way, they have the same experience, so it's not just me, I'm not crazy. I feel like if you have too many carbs, and I'm not talking about sugar, I'm talking about like sweet potatoes and that kind of stuff. Like, when I had too much of that, it made it really tough to get to the next day. So maybe I'm not doing a ketogenic diet right now, but I think I'm gonna go down on the carbs and see what I experience. I'm gonna make more videos on that. I might try a ketogenic diet with OMAD too, so I'll make videos on that too, just to help you out on the journey and share with you what I experience. Because I feel like sometimes we get too obsessed about research and we never try things. I feel like trying can be the best research that you do, unless you're trying something so crazy that there's a lot of risks involved. But I don't feel like there's a lot of risks involved with this, so whatever, you can fight with me in the comments that I didn't give you any research studies, but I'm just sharing my opinion and experience. I feel like that can be more valuable sometimes for people, so that you know what another human being is going through, and I hope that helps. I'll definitely share more with you. The more that I experience, the more that I want to share to help people out. There's so many questions that people have that I hope this has value, so I'll see you on the next one.